So this is Christopher. He's a duelist main, and he can't get out of bronze this season. I watched his gameplay, turns out he's not a bad player. But what I did find is 2 specific reasons why he can't rank up. So let's break down his gameplay, find out what he's doing wrong, and see if we can make him a better player. If you're also struggling with ranking up or getting better in Marvel Rivals, you might find this video informative. Let's do this. So we're starting this on the attacking side. You're playing Moon Knight, good choice in the current meta for sure. I believe you're a Starlord main, so it'll be interesting to see how you do here. Okay, the enemy team is way overextended here. They're not in a good spot. So let's see how you play this. There's one thing you should be doing, and I'm going to wonder if you do it. Okay, so let's pause it here. This is the first... this happens a lot in sort of, I would say, lower skill lobbies. And honestly, like, once you've realized this, you can learn so much about the game. You can win a lot of games just based off of this. A lot of times in lower skill lobbies, the enemy team will push up, right? They will push up way to the point. They'll push up here, right, and take this whole space. Because they think, oh, if we get up to the point and don't let it move, we're going to gain more time on the clock. Trouble is, your whole team, right, is right here. In this, you are invincible if you're in this area. You're invincible. You got this massive sight line of all of these enemies down here. If you just stay in your spawn and shoot them, you're going to take control of this whole area. You're going to get your ult charge. You're going to get kills. They're going to be dead. And you're going to have a full free experience to go all the way up here for free. So whenever you're playing Convoy, always take a look to see if there's anyone overextended and shoot them before even stepping out of spawn, because you're invincible. It's a free thing to do. So just a quick heads up. Not sure if you are gonna die here, but the thing is, your teammates are gonna do the same. They will honestly do the same, and then you can just kind of do it without thinking. But if you were to just stay inside for a bit, even without your teammates, you provide unbelievable amounts of value. You've got God mode on. Okay, so you're stepping out, playing behind your penny. Okay, put down the Ankh, putting pressure on the enemies. Really good use of the Ankh there. Putting pressure on the group. Really good as a Moon Knight to just keep shooting the group. Puts a lot of pressure on the whole team, forcing them back. Honestly, a lot of the work you're doing here is really great. Great use of the abilities to just completely put pressure on the team and push them back. Nice Ankh usage there. A really great combo. Nice pressure. Okay, so right now, really good. But let's point out what happened there. Really good use of your abilities. Really good work on moving up and getting momentum and getting the ball moving. But I think you took that momentum and just moved a little bit too far. Because this, okay, this is what the enemies see just as you're about to die, right? They see you first and foremost in this big open area. You're the easiest shot there, you know, standing out here. Now, you've obviously had this momentum going, pushing, and it's worked really well. And without really thinking too much, you've gone and stepped out a bit too far. So the best thing would be to actually stay behind this cover with the penny. The penny's positioning here is the best, okay? And it's easy to make this mistake because a lot of the times you may be like, right, I'm going to stay with the team, right? I'm going to stay with my boys, you know, that's how we move up. You and all of these people here are overextended a little bit too much. You don't need to make this peak. If you want to peak and deal damage, you could peak from this point here where the penny is. And at the end of the day, the objective is to get this convoy thing to the end, right? So if you're standing here, you're making sure you're not dying, you're not giving them free damage to farm their ults. That's great. That's the best part of the game, when they're not able to farm heals, farm damage, and get ults, because that's going to slow you down. You are already moving this thing along. You don't need to do anything. So just a quick heads up. Think about your positioning. Are you overextended too much? Are you out in the open? Do the enemies see you far too much than they really deserve to? Just one thing to think about. So we're going to go on, moving to see what happens next. We'll go past this death, see you when you come back in a minute. Okay, respawned in. Nice grapple on the ground there. A good tech and gliding in to get the action. Really good spot here. This is a really, really good spot to hold, okay? Because when you're here, all right, this whole spot is one of the best places for Moon Knight. I mean, you can throw your unks down there and have a lot of fun, okay, and do a lot of damage. But I do want to see if you respond to the threat here. When you're in this point, you always need to pay attention to this area first. Before you go and rain down on your parade down here and just destroy these guys, as tempting it can be to do that instantly, make sure that you pay attention to this space. Because whoever has this space, I'll just show you real quick, they have an unfathomable amount of, okay, let me just show you. So anyone down here in this big clump trying to stop the thing moving, they're not going to have a great choice to shoot you, right? Their vision is just terrible. You got a real nice peek. But for anyone standing up here, you're really out in the open, so you got to prioritize that first, just as a heads up. But really good position for you to be in right here. So definitely the right position. Let's see if you respond to it correctly. So you put your unk down here. Really good unk, but yeah, so I wonder if you respond. So basically this guy, the way this works, right, it's about the camera angles of the game. Okay, so when you peek this corner, right, let's go back a minute. Let's see exactly why you have to pay attention to this. And the map is specifically designed this way to give sort of like different value for defenders and attackers throughout the game. And that's why it's so fun to play this game, because the map design is really good. But let me explain what I'm talking about. If you are here, right, you have the camera point like to your side where you can't see anyone behind this thing right here. Whereas if someone comes up here, right, look what they can see. This is the Moon Knight. He comes here. He can be behind cover. You'd have no idea he's there, and he can still see you. So you have to think about that a little bit. So this is why you, just have to make sure that you pay attention to that. You did see him just at the last second, so good reaction there. But unfortunately, he did get the Unk combo down, which is a shame. Good use of your abilities, good reaction to him, but just always remind yourself to check that before you take that height and actually start doing the damage. Right, you're back in the X. And so far, though, like, you're doing pretty decent. Just a couple positioning things to think about. Okay, throw the Unk. Okay. You know, we don't really know what happened there. I just want to point out. So you threw your Unk down. It had a nice little point to deal damage on Groot there. But, you know, we move on. So what you're hearing there is the Unk bouncing back and forth hitting you. So that sound is what you want to hear for. If you hear that, it's Moon Knight AoE damage. Ooh, good Unk. Nice. Really good use. So yeah, good use of the abilities. Nice ult right on the... yeah, caught a couple people out there. Putting pressure on the objective. Really good ult use. Okay. Okay, so there you kind of got caught out, and honestly, I don't really think that's your fault. You were doing your thing. I think, like, doing an Unk combo where you go like this and you jump up in the air, and you displace them. You get that advantage to be able to do that, and you do your combo. It's great, you know? But it was just a bit unfortunate that the Loki came out, turned into a Thor, and you just got caught out as you're floating down to the ground. Just one thing to think about, I suppose, is that, yeah, when you use your Moon Knight abilities, you are kind of floating in the air. So, one thing to think about. But honestly, in that case, it was a hard one to sort of avoid. Can't really blame you for that one. So, let's continue. Alright, so you're moving up.
There's still a chance to stop them.
Nice grapple there. Moving up on. Okay. Seeing enemies there. Really good Unk there. Really good Unk. You threw it behind them, which means they need... Okay, so we'll talk about that F. So, yeah. Let's just talk about that Unk placement. Really good use of the abilities. I think you're a good Moon Knight player. You threw it here, right? And the player is standing here, looking down this way. I know, beautiful drawing. Which means they have to do a 180, basically, to be able to destroy that Unk. In that time, you can get your combo off easy. So really, like, putting the Unks behind players like that is really good. Fortunately, the same thing sort of happened to you. Although I do think you may have had enough time to react here. Let's have a little look. So this is now the enemy Moon Knight that just killed you. He goes up here. His positioning is a little odd. Right, he throws down his Unk. Yeah, so I think what happened there, I'm not sure what audio setup you've got, but you probably didn't hear the Unk sound, because he was chipping away at that. So just remember that the audio in this game is really important. You can get a lot of information. Just a quick heads up, if you go to audio, and then go to combat mix, okay, what you want to do is damage volume you want to make sure that is higher than basically everything else. And critical health volume, I know some people don't like it, but having that high is pretty good as well. When you have that higher, it just becomes a little bit more clear. Like my actual like normal damage volume is lower, like my dealing damage and healing, and then my damage is higher, so that I can hear taking damage, because like audio will help you stay alive against Moon Knights and these kind of things. Okay, switch to Starlord. So this is your main, I believe. You did say that it's your main, so this will be interesting to see. Step out here, okay. Bit of a overextending here. Same kind of thing that you died to earlier. So I wonder if we're going to see a bit of a pattern here. If this, here's the thing. This is why dying in games is actually really good, because you can learn so much. You just died the same way within the first few minutes of the match. You are here, right? This is the enemy's point of view right now. Look what they see. You are a bit overextended here, right? You should be behind your squad here. It's unfortunate you don't have any decent tanks on your team. Like a Penny and Thor on attack is not easy to deal with. It would be nice to have a Doctor Strange, and then sure, you could stand there. But seeing it from the enemy's POV, you can probably see exactly why you may die here, right? So just as a heads up, I don't know if you do die, but I'm just going to sort of go on a hunch here and say that this does not look like a good place to be in. Now, I think I have a bit of a hunch to what's going on here. But anyway, let's play what's happening, and I'm going to explain what I think's happening in your like mind to kind of explain and break down what's going on with your positioning. Oh, some decent accuracy, use your E. And then, yeah, you just got caught out by the squirrel girl there. She just popped out right in your face. Unfortunate. But yeah, so it does seem like you...
Can't keep me down for long.
Yeah, this is a perfect... this is perfectly what I mean. You seem like you're a bit pressured. Perhaps you feel like you need to get out there into the action as quickly as possible. And whilst, you know, it is good to take action as fast as you can, that may be making you rush your decisions a little bit. Yeah, you got 3 minutes on the clock left. It does feel like you got a bit of pressure, but that's actually quite a lot of time. You've captured the first point pretty quickly. It's better just to walk out here and get to your team. You don't need to rush out and use your jetpack fuel like this. Take your time, slow things down in your mind, and the results will probably be a lot better. It may be one of the main issues. You may even know how to position properly, but perhaps it's just your momentum. So I want to talk about this stuff. This stuff's really important, actually. But the first time you died when you overextended is actually because you had that first initial push and you're like, go, 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 go. We got this going. And you had such good momentum, but you just went a little bit too far. You just had to slow yourself down a bit. In this case, you're feeling stressed and pressured. And you're like, I need to get there and go and push this thing or we're going to lose. And it's like, yes, that is true, but that doesn't mean you need to physically extend past the point of safety, if that makes sense. So you got to like stop yourself and say, wait a minute, let me like think about this. I have got time to play this. Let's try and like slow myself down and let my emotions just come down, whether it's from excitement or frustration. It seems that may be playing into why your positioning is not the best. So let's take a look at exactly where you are standing and what it looks like to the enemy team here. And this is going to really highlight exactly what went wrong. Okay, so you're standing here, right? You are, of course, looking down this sight line. All of these enemies are way overextended. They shouldn't be there. Great point to go and try and shoot these guys, right? Absolutely, that should be your focus because they got a giant tunnel to deal with. That is not going to be good for them. Great idea. However, what happened was, and I think this may be because you're feeling that pressure, perhaps. You look at these teams. Like half the team is down here and half the enemy is down here. Look what they see down this sight line. They see you and you only. So it's very clear why you would die there. Now, this is actually easily fixable, and I think it's really great that these are the issues that we're seeing right now because they are really easy to fix. You don't need to work on your aim. You don't need to work on your mechanics. You are not, like, you're good. All you got to do is just remember, if I stand here, I'm going to die. And the solution is really, really simple. Just stand here. If you stand here, this whole thing will block their line of sight. So that is the difference between life and death. Literally, like, what is that? Like a meter to the right, just a little too much. if you're just thinking a bit more carefully about how you're standing and what other people might see, that will instantly remove, like, what, 2 deaths already? How many deaths do you have right now? Let's see. Like, so far, like, your aim's been really good. And the way you've been using your ability is really good. Let's have a look. Let's have a look, shall we? You've died 5 times. 2 of those 5 deaths are just from slight positional errors. You wouldn't be dead if you just thought about those things. So, good. We're learning, right? This is great. This is what we want. So, you can go into your next game confident knowing that if I just kind of slow myself down a bit and think about where I'm standing just a little bit more. So, come back to Moon Knight here. Interesting. Then, you're going to do work, you know? You're going to do a great job. Okay, so you're hearing attacks from here. Nice unk usage to shut down the Groot, really good. Listening to the audio there from the Groot, that's what you want to see, so that's great. Okay, moving up the point now. The enemy team just overextended way too much, so no matter what happened there, you were going to get through that. That was unfortunate. Honestly, really good use of the grapple there. You grappled over 2 ultimates. You just basically dodged a Penny ult and a Spider-Man ult. Unfortunate there was another ult, but that's fine. You don't need to worry about these kind of deaths. These kind of deaths are good because they have literally just used 3 of their ultimates and you spawn right there. These are the kind of deaths that you don't even need to care about. And the good thing is, all of your teammates have spawned together. You're in bronze. You might have problems with staggering. If you get team wiped by ultimates on the enemy team at lower rank, that's actually kind of a blessing in disguise. Now their ultimates are down. Secondly, you are now stacked up in a group and ready to go together, and there's no discoordination. This is actually a momentum shift for you. So sometimes deaths, strangely, can be a good thing. Good angles here. This you know how to position. Look at this. I think you do know. Perhaps you were just a bit frustrated. Look, they can't see you. They can only see you each time you peek out and deal damage. Really good. So to me, you obviously do know how to position. Perhaps you're just letting your frustration or excitement get a bit too ahead of you, and that's making you forget about where you're positioned. Perhaps. So, you know, maybe. Oh, nice kill on the Spider-Man there. I don't know what he was doing. So yeah, that was a great angle there. That's the most perfect sight line you could ever have. Ult comes down. Good ult. Okay. Could have been a bit forward more, but you got a couple. Actually, you just killed both the backline. Never mind. That was a really good ult. You killed both of the supports. There we go. Okay. Moving up. Good. See, this is what I mean. That momentum shift, because they just use all their ults, and you are now stacked as a squad. So sometimes when you die, don't worry. You might actually be a blessing in disguise. Okay. So you're holding this angle. That was unfortunate. Oh, I don't even know what happened there. How did you die? Yeah, Squirrel Girl. I think you've died to Squirrel Girl a few times this game. She's kind of annoying. You will just die for silly reasons. You're holding a pretty decent angle. I mean, you know, you got a head glitch. All they can see of you is your head. If you take a bit too much damage, you can just step literally 1 meter to the side. Decent angle to hold. So I don't think you necessarily did anything wrong. Yeah, that was what I call the cheesiest shot ever. You just got caught in the crosshair. You did nothing wrong. So if you die in that moment, you're like, what did I do wrong? You didn't. Honestly, you didn't do anything wrong. Squirrel nuts happened. You know, it happens sometimes. Thor just went in with his ult, so that's good. Moving in. Let's just move up a little bit. Alright, moving in. Almost at the end. Let's go. Shooting the Loki clone. Yeah, getting that out of the way. Staying with the team, not overextending. Good. Okay. Destroying the group wall. Good focus. Unk. Really good unk. Nice. Great loads of damage there. Yeah, really good. Focusing on the right targets there. Bit of a struggle on the aim there, but honestly, it's a difficult time sometimes with Moon Knight, isn't it? You know, he's also missing, so what can you do? So far, the aim's been pretty, really good. Oh, you killed Squirrel Girl there. Okay. That's alright. Her ult's still going around, though. Yeah, so far, positioning. And I honestly think it's not that you don't know how to position. It's simply that perhaps you get too caught up in whatever you're thinking or feeling, and you become unaware of what your surroundings are. And it's very easy to do. It seems to be almost based on the momentum you're having in game. Whether you're frustrated, feeling pressure, or feeling like you're doing really well, then you go a bit too much. Really good ult there. Caught out the Loki. Once again, real smart targeting the Loki. Really good pick. to focus the Loki, focus the Groot. Good use of Moon Knight. Like, you're doing everything right with Moon Knight. There are some cases where you could have maybe held high ground a bit, but you stayed with the team and you made it work, even though you didn't even have a Doctor Strange on the team. So, honestly, just a couple positioning things. That's all it is. Alright, so same thing is happening on this side. Actually, standing here isn't as bad of a thing as Moon Knight. If you want to get like a little chip of damage, you want to do your Ankh combo and then quickly grapple back, that's fine. But it's the same deal. And it's frustrating because, you know, you're playing on this, like, all of the people on your team are all here. Like, you know, so you feel like, oh, I'm going to stand there as well. But once you rank up, you don't want to be here. You don't want to be there. You should be holding, like, this spot, you know, having cover here, holding this high ground, and you got this flank spot if you need to go back. If you're playing like a character that has disengage, the tanks can overextend into this area, but you've got this sight line blocking their spawn, right? This spawn, you don't want to even see. If you can see their spawn, that means they can see you as having a full health, invincibility. So just something to keep in mind. And as you go like into the higher ranks, you'll notice that people don't do this as much. But the sooner you kind of understand that, the more useful. So let's see how this plays out. You can kind of spawn trap people, but what you'll realize is you actually always lose these kind of battles. So that's it. You got that combo I was talking about. Good job. Now you want to get out of there and make sure that you don't die. Okay, nice little 1v1 there. So I think the reason you died here is literally because you are you're almost living off the high of that first kill, right? Like, it is almost entirely, I think it's down to your emotions here. Like, you kill this guy, amazing. You just one-shot Thor, that's insane. And then you're like, oh my god, there's another guy, I can kill him too. And you know what? You played this almost perfectly. Alright, this 1v1 angle, really good. You're taking advantage of the third-person camera, but there's a serious problem with this fight. You have 140 health, whereas Squirrel Girl has infinite health. So even if Squirrel Girl didn't have infinite health, she's already got the advantage, the health advantage, right? She's got like, I don't even know how much health she's got. So yeah, bit of a disadvantage, and you know, your Ankh is available, so you could still make it work if you hit the combo, but she's in spawn. So you got to think like, maybe you're not in the right spot here. And I think, like, honestly, watching your gameplay, you do know how to play this game. You do know how to hit your shots. You do know how to make the most of the abilities. You know the right angles to hold. But you're letting yourself get a bit too, like, you're living off emotions a little bit. And, you know, it's a fun game. It's completely fine to do that. But if you want to get better, you got to try and, like, remain calm. And that's not just ignoring frustration, but also trying not to get too caught up in the exciting moments. That can catch you out, which we've seen now. This is the third time, you know? So, decent Ankh, but it doesn't matter because she can just go behind there and get it. So, this is going to happen whenever you overextend like this. I mean, I've said it a few times, but this isn't, like, it's not really on you at the end of the day because your whole team is doing it too. Your whole team is doing it. But as you can see, because your whole team just died, right, because you're holding an unwinnable spot, they now have control of this whole area. So, whilst it may have felt beneficial to, like, push them and make sure that they can't get even a second on the clock to move their convoy, well, you've given them invulnerability, and then they've team wiped you, and now they've gained even more ground than they would have if you were to have just held, like, you know, this space right here. If you would have held this space as a team behind cover in safety and have better angles, they wouldn't be here yet, you know? So, you know, just I think that you can't really get your team to even understand what you're talking about here. So, you know, all you got to do is focus on your own positioning, really. Let's go back a bit. You have respawned. You're back in the fight. This is a hard one to win now, as Moon Knight. And I think the position you're holding is pretty good. It's hard to play on height. I know a lot of Moon Knights will play on height here. Sorry, I didn't want to go back. But you're playing it pretty good in this spot because your healers won't be able to heal you on height at this rank. They'll just forget about you. So really good Unk combo there. Good use of the jump. You jumped up and then you threw your Unk down immediately and got the combo off. So it displaced them, which meant you could then get behind cover. So good use of abilities. Really good. Okay, you don't have much health here. Waiting for the heals. Smart. Okay, unfortunately Thor's coming around the corner. So good Unk there to shut him down. That was fair enough. Good job. When you hear that Thor sound, you know he's in the lightning mode. So just another audio cue that you can pay attention to think, I need to be careful here. He's coming around the corner barreling with like insane damage. Okay. So I think in this situation, I don't... You want to try and stop the push, right? I just want to like see, like, when you're standing here, where are your team? Where are they? Two of the enemies are dead. I don't... Can we just see what... Let's go back and replay this a minute. Like, what happened? Where is your team? Okay, so they just respawned. They're coming in. Everyone's respawned after that team wipe. Okay, you're holding this point. Alright, this is a good Unk. And then you pushed off the Thor. Honestly, I think you played this well. I just don't really know where your team was. This is what happened a lot on Bronze. Sometimes you just gotta look around through walls and go like, where are my team's outlines? Where are my silhouettes? Because, I mean, this Loki's over here. This Hela is over here. Like, if you want to play this aggressive thing, then you're gonna need to have a support here. And, you know, in higher ranks, that would have been an alright, like, decent position to be in, really. It was a bit overextended. Like, you could have played from here, right? Like, if they're going to capture the point, it's not the end of the world. It's going to happen eventually if they've got this point. You may as well give control to them. Hold this point to try and deal damage, and then you can just quickly rotate here, and then hold this angle. If you play up here, as you saw with the Thor, it was kind of hard to get out, right? Holding this is probably better, and because you had no supports, what literally wasn't much you could have done there, unfortunately. Yeah, just a couple things about positioning. The thing is with positioning, right? A lot of people know, like, roughly where to stand, but as we saw earlier, the difference between being in the right position and the wrong position is literally usually just like a few meters difference. It really is, because it affects the sightlines and what people can see massively. Okay, so you're waiting for your team here. Cool, good, really good. You're not just running in, you know, smart, regrouping, really, really good, waiting for your tanks. Good stuff. Good stuff. I do think you're struggling in this game somewhat to do with the team composition, but you know, we can't always focus on what the team is doing at the end of the day. Sometimes your teammates are just gonna make the wrong choices, choose the wrong characters, and you just gotta try and at least improve yourself. Good ult. That's a good ult. Yeah, picked up a couple kills right on the point there, so really good. Okay. Okay, okay, Unk, nice. Okay, so good Unk, good ability usage there. You still got the Unk on the point. Oh, I did get destroyed there. Okay. She basically just insta-targets you with Squirrel Girl. Not much you could have done, honestly. I mean, you were doing good. You were doing good there, I think. Good, pretty, like, good angles. You're holding the sight line well. You did jump up in the sky a couple times, you know. When you didn't need to. Try to only do that when you got the Unk combo available, you know? But besides that, really good. I think you died here. I think it's the same reason for your last death. So, whilst, you know, I feel like you have a good understanding of where you need to be. But when this objective came out, then you got to do another check of like where my team is. Because you're standing here and you got, you know, both your supports here. But your team is now spawned all the way back down here. So you got to give this place up. You're just going to die, you know. You got to come back here and hold this angle. It's just like whenever the capture zone happens, then your spawn point's going to change and you're going to lose control of areas. Best thing you can do, honestly, is just give up that space. As frustrating as it can be, just give it up sometimes. You know, if you got your team there to hold it, sure, but unfortunately in that time you didn't. Waiting for the team. Very good. Nice. A lot of people will just run in and in and in and in, so you're not making that mistake. You are, like, making sure your team is coming with you, you know? Okay, let's see it. Let's see the positioning here. Okay. Trying to get an angle there. Good, holding a good sight line here. This is good. Good angle, you know? Stepping back a bit to get heals from his support. Nice. Okay, another audio cue. Storm. Ah, so you responded to that one. Good. Good to see. This is going to be really frustrating as a bronze player. I mean, this is going to happen sometimes. You're going to respond because you're like, oh, there's a storm ult coming down, right? You did the exact right thing, okay? Unfortunately, your teammates just stood there and did nothing. Like, I don't know what to say there. You did the best you could in that situation. Yeah, so the best way you could have responded to it then, like, you did. Yeah, you backed off. Great. Unfortunately, they did take control of the area of that storm, but you played that really well. Positioning there, really good, I want to point out. Really, really good use. Okay. So this is the enemy Invisible Woman ult, by the way. The colors are reversed. Just want to point that out. Okay. Alright, so I think this is just quite like at the end of the match, and you're feeling the pressure, you want to do whatever you can. But I will point this out just a little bit. Of course, they're invisible on the inside, but this is what they see of you, okay? This is what... They just see you standing out in the open. So, just one thing to consider. They do just see you standing out in the open. But it's the end of the match. You want to put as much pressure on. Like, at the end of the day, you're in there trying to do the most you can. Because the game's about to end. So, it's better than just standing there and doing nothing. I see a lot of people who stand there and go like, I don't have much health. You know, it's like, well, the game's going to end. You're going to die anyway. So, yeah. You could have maybe held a bit back position. You didn't need to be on the point. But, well, I guess you did actually, because no one else was on it. So, yeah, nothing you could have done there. Don't worry about that death, really. Just remember with the Invisible Woman ult, they'll see you there standing in the open. Yeah, I mean, like, at the end of the day, no one was on the point. You had to sacrifice yourself there. There was nothing else you could have done. You know, the game was going to end regardless if you just didn't die. So, yeah, makes sense. So now in overtime. So far, I know this has been a bit of a long video. I just want to point out the two major things. Positioning and audio cues. Listening to when ultimates and abilities are playing and using that information to look around you or retreat. That one is not too important, but that has caught you off a couple times with the Moon Knight Ankh and the Thor flying lightning attack combo. I don't know what it's called. Second thing, the most important thing, your positioning is pretty good, but there are times where you overextend or stand out in the open, and I think it comes straight off of a moment of frustration or excitement. So if you just tone it down a bit and just remind yourself, every time you're playing, what do the enemies see? What do they see? Am I standing in the open? Is this the best place for me to stand? Try and think. And if you're not sure how to do that, go and watch through some more of your matches, and you'll get a much better understanding of this. Like, you can just literally watch from the enemy's point of view and see exactly where you're standing. Okay, let's see. So you're standing with a team. So this is one of these moments where, like, I would say, I think the Squirrel... Yeah, so Squirrel Girl killed... As a Moon Knight, look what would happen if you were standing up here. So the Squirrel Girl take control of this area, and she basically saw this whole thing, right? If you stand here, you can get some really nice Ankh kills, right? And you can peek out, get some angles, right? Remember, we can check this area up here. There's a storm there right now, but technically she's not on height. There's no one there, right? So I've got this whole area to play on. I can look down at all of this space below and do all sorts of damage. This is the best spot for Moon Knight on attack. It is the best spot. But you're with your team. I think that's because you're a Starlord. I think that's because you play Starlord. Although Starlord's good at flanking as well. But, you know, just a Moon Knight thing. Like, playing height is the best. So, yeah. But Squirrel Girl ends up taking this place. She's like, oh, nice angle. Okay. Bam, 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 bam. Right? She just, yeah. It happens. But just a quick thing, like, when you play on height, you can see more than what they can see of you. They only see a tiny bit of your head, and you'll see the whole area below. Okay? So here you are staying in spawn this time. So you're even aware of this yourself. I've been going on about this a couple times, but you're very aware of the fact that you are invincible. So good to know. You have a good understanding of the game. Honestly, just a couple positional things. That is literally the difference between you being honestly like bronze and plat, or if you put the effort in diamond. Just slight positional things. That is it. That is all it takes. So yeah, in summary, the best thing you can take from this, think about your positioning. What do your enemies see? Are you standing out in the open? Secondly, make sure you maybe adjust your settings so you can hear the different sound cues so that you know what abilities are activated and react to that as soon as you possibly can. That's going to save you, honestly, those two small things would have saved you about 7 or 8 deaths, which is the difference potentially between you winning and losing the game, because you have 19 deaths, which is a lot in this particular match. If you had just 11 deaths, you would have been able to put so much more pressure on the enemy team, and you probably would have won. And you weren't doing tons of things wrong. It was literally meters difference in your positioning, and you would have won this game. So there you go. Well, to be honest, I mean, it's a bit of a shame that they had a Penny Thor on the attack team on your side, but it is what it is. Hopefully you found this useful. Let me know. And if you want to see more, let me know as well. I'll see you in the comments. Cheerio.